Amazing. Oh my goodness. Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Max?
I am wonderful. All right, I guess I should just do this. Okay, so hi everyone. I am Max Joseph with Awards Radar, and I am in the presence of greatness. Yes,
Where?
it is right behind you. It's that window. The window behind you is just greatness. And I am here with the animator of the Genie from Aladdin, who also co-directed Pocahontas, animated Phil in Hercules, Minnie Maui, which by the way, I can do the entire rap of you're welcome, and so many other iconic, amazing films. Eric Goldberg. Eric, you're how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Was that a good enough introduction?
That was an amazing introduction.
Hey,
I
the
should pay
interview's
you.
over. Interview's over then. Okay, so first of all, thank you for your amazing work. I Animation is my favorite genre medium, and so all the work that you did is so important, and I just a heartfelt thank you. Now, I'm gonna stop gushing and actually talk to you. So
Okay.
one of the things that you said in the series was animation takes something and then it pluses it. It makes it larger than life. Can you talk about that and how maybe that affects Genie or just the work that you do?
You know, Anytime you're animating something, even when it's something subtle, you're not just aping live action. You're not just aping real life. You are pushing it. You are caricaturing it. I hesitate to use that word a little bit
Mm,
because people think caricature is exaggeration. It isn't necessarily. I tend to think of it as heightening it. You know, One of the analogies that I use is a lot of people like comic books. Okay, comic books realistic, but the perspectives are heightened. The poses are more dynamic, the lighting is more interesting, and that's one reason people like that. Same thing with animation. You're
mm.
taking something and you are pushing it further into something that is artistic. You're making artistic choices when you do that. So that's really what I meant.
That's wonderful. Another thing that you said that I just never even thought about, but just really resonated was you said that the animator is kind of the actor of the character. Because whenever, and now I think of the world differently of animation, whenever I think of a character, I usually think of Robin Williams. And I mean, also rightfully so, he's my favorite actor of all time. But I love that you said they are the actor. So what, I never thought of that. How is that? What do you mean by that also?
Well, basically, animators have to create the visual performance
Right.
of the characters on screen. And animating, given that it's labor intensive and that you have to kind of break it down into pieces, it's like an acting performance broken down into its component parts in slow motion. But
Right,
you're
right, right.
still creating a performance that people can recognize, behaviors that people can recognize, and that feel true to that particular character. Every now and again, people will say, "Well, just do a mechanical walk. That'll work right." Except a mechanical walk for Pocahontas is not the same as a mechanical walk for Donald Duck. So
Right.
you have to filter it through who the character is always.
Hmm. That's amazing. So obvious. So again, you've worked on so many amazing projects. What was it like to work on Genie? You told the story in Sketchbook, but what were there other versions of him that you had drawn? How did this Genie happen for you?
Well, it's got to start with John Musker and Ron Clements, who directed the
Yep.
film, and they also wrote the initial script.
Right.
And one thing that they were very good at was writing in the voice of the actor they wanted to cast, even if they hadn't actually signed that actor. So when they gave
Hmm.
me the script, and said, well, let's see if there's a character that interests you. Of course, the genie leapt off the page, and it was very clear they wrote for Robin Williams. What we didn't realize is they wrote it in terms of archetypes. Okay, he's an evangelist. Okay, he's an army
Sure.
sergeant. Okay, he's a game show host. But when we got Robin in the recording studio, out came all the celebrity impressions. And
Oh
by
my
the time
gosh.
they kind of scraped us up off the floor, we said, we can't not use this stuff. We
Too
have
good.
to use this stuff, and so the Genie has a lot of parents, John and Ron, the writers, Robin. There were visual development artists who certainly did things before I got onto the show. Storyboard artists. I mean, there was a whole slew of people who had been helping to develop this character before I even got on it. Once I
Sure.
got on it, I decided to try and push things in a certain direction. Um, and one of the things that inspired me was the guy who was doing the production design, Richard Vanderwend,
Mm.
was doing what I would call these Hollywood Arabian backgrounds, where they were very, very S-curvy.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, what kind of characters fit in curvy environments? Curvy characters, ergo Al Hirschfeld, my hero, and, started designing a genie in that vein. Now,
Oh,
early drawings that I had, you know, the genie had horns, he had a turban, he had a vest, and we found the more
huh.
we stripped off of him, the better he got. The
Yeah.
simpler he got, the better he got, because it gave him a complete freedom of movement. Once you took all those details off of him, it was so much easier for him to transform into the 50 plus iterations that he did during the film.
So many. Oh my gosh. Wow. 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 I you're so cool. You're like the coolest person I've ever met. Oh my God. And you're a member of the tribe. This is the greatest day of my life. Oh my, I definitely heard as soon as you said bar mitzvah, I said, I like this guy. Okay. So speaking of Robin Williams, what was it like working with the late great actor?
Well, first of all, I have to say, it probably goes without saying, he's amazing. He was amazing, and he gave us so much material. The
Mhm.
thing, the thing that I would say about Robin is that he was a very generous performer, and here's what I mean by that. Okay, he. A lot of people think Robin bounced off the walls all the time, and he didn't actually. In between takes, he quieted down. You could see him eating a sandwich, watching
Huh.
TV, logging in his mental Rolodex for future use. But he kept, so when I say he's generous, it means he let it all out once they opened up the mic. In other words, so he could give 1,000% to his performance. So it was all for the picture and not just for the happy amusement of people gathered around him. And that's a really great actor and generous performer, to store it up intentionally and then blast it out with as much energy and verve as possible.
It's awesome because I've seen like some behind the scenes stuff that like I've YouTube throughout the years of him like going at the mic, and it's so cool to it's so interesting to think that like, and then he would just like relax, and then it'd go back to being the genie.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't like he carried it through. That's really cool to know. Um, was there something on the storyboard that never got in, but you really loved?
Oh God, there were plenty of things.
I'm
All
ready.
right.
I could do this for years.
Okay. Erin's going to stop me. She's going to say, shut up, Eric. But
Oh, Aaron,
I'm
let me
sorry.
just live in my fantasy for a minute.
Okay. I've told this story before. Robin surprisingly um, riffed a lot of his lines, as you know.
Right.
So one of the ideas that Jeffrey Katzenberg had when he was also voicing the narrator was, he said, fill a box with stuff, okay, and put a
Mhm.
cover over it. And then when he comes in, pull the cover off, and then he's going to riff with whatever he pulls out. And that became the narrator, so some of that is still in the film, like, oh, this is very rare. That's the Tupperware. Still good.
Right.
That's in the movie.
Wow.
That was a riff. Okay. One of the things he pulled out of the box was a bra. And he goes, look at this. It's a double slingshot. Look at this. It's a double yarmulke. I should have called her. Anyway, I so wanted that in the movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I bet there was just hours and so many hundreds of ideas and just content that he would just provide. That's amazing.
Yeah. What was amazing as well is we would have a line that was written, but he would do it 28 times as 28 different characters.
Oh my God.
And we would choose the one back at the studio that fit. So for example, for the line, no substitutions, exchanges, or refunds, he did a Groucho Marx, and we picked that one to put in the movie. No substitutions, exchanges, or refunds. He also did it as W.C. Fields, as Peter Lorre, as Mr. Rogers, as George Jessel, as Elmer Fudd.
Oh my God, I would give anything.
Well, you can actually, because if you go to the Blu-ray, we have a section on there called the Genie Outtakes, where I storyboarded all that stuff. So...
Well, I know what I'm going on Amazon after this. Oh my goodness. Okay. I could go on literally for hours to talk to you, but I'm going to try and wrap up because I know that you are a very busy person. And as much as you love me, I can only ask you so many things. So some people who interview like to focus on like, what were the tough moments? I like to focus on the joyful ones. So my last question for you is, what was your favorite part of just like your favorite part to animate? And just your favorite part of your career so far? I know those are two very broad, giant questions.
Are very broad things.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay. You can like narrow it down to like a film if you'd like. Aladdin.
Okay. I mean, in Aladdin, probably my favorite scene was the genie dancing with his hands. I love animating dance, and that was so much fun to do. And
stunning.
And that's probably my favorite genie scene in there, although of course I have many thousands. And sure. As far as the highlight of my career, I think one of the big highlights was when my wife Susan and I both won twin Annie Awards one year for Fantasia 2000. She won for art direction on Rhapsody in Blue, and I won for character animation on Carnival of the Animals. And that was a very, very special night.
That's amazing. Well, again, I wish I could talk to you forever. I'm a little sad that you didn't say the highlight of your career was talking to me. But
that was the second one.
Then we're good. Eric Goldberg, thank you so much for chatting. You have warmed my heart and made my year.
It's been a complete pleasure, Max.
Thank you.
Okay. See you soon.
Thank you, Aaron.